you also should have a book that looks something like this. Surah Al-A'la? Yes? So I'm going to go over the two things that we said we would do in this month. We were going to connect to the Quran, but hopefully by the end of the month you will have memorized Surah Al-A'la. And the second thing was that you would know the 99 Asma al-Husna. Hopefully that is the intention, and that's the focus that we need to get to. Yesterday we went over the sermon of the Prophet. Today we will go over that first ayah. Look at Surah Al-A'la again, and I'll go into detail. And hopefully you will know those three: Rahman, Rahim, and Ra'uf. The numbers 1, 2, and 83. So you know them, right? So on the sheets that we gave out yesterday, and there's some over there, you will have marked that on there. But right now I want to start with Surah Al-A'la. So if you've got your books, you can make notes in it. I mean, this is how I do my book. You have lots of post-it notes and lots of notes in it. So I'll go over it. So the first thing with Surah Al-A'la is to know it's Surah number 87. The second thing to know, it's got 19 ayat. The third thing is that it's a Makki surah. Now, in the Quran, you will find Makki and Madani. For those of you who've been with me for so many years, you know Quran City, and we've marked them as yellow and green. So anybody tell me how many Makki surahs there are? 80. Come on, you're supposed to know this. No? 86 Makki. And if there's 114 minus 86, come on, you all do math. What's Madani? I'm just trying to wake you up a bit. 20 something? 28? Good. So 28 Madani. Makki surah will mainly look at the why of religion. So you will find Tawheed, you will find Nubuwah and Imamah go together, and you'll find Qiyamah. Madani will tell you the how of religion. The demarcation between the two is Hijrah. So Makki were revealed before Hijrah, Madani were revealed after Hijrah. Now it's really important, because if you look in every single Quran, every single copy you've got, whether it's Indo-Pak or whether it's Uthmani or whatever you look, it will tell you right at the beginning whether this is a Makki or a Madani surah. So this is a Makki surah. Late Makki-ish, but if you look at it, it contains a lot in it. All right, so we're going to look at that. The third thing is it's part of a group of surahs known as Musabbihat. In your book that you have with you, if you look at page 11, you will see the 7 Musabbihat. Yesterday, I asked you about the Musabbihat. And I asked you whether you knew them, but they're all here for you. There's Isra, there's Hashr, there's Hadid, there's Saf, there's Jumu'ah, there's Taghabun, and there's A'la. All of these start with Sabbaha or Yusabbihu. However, this is the only surah in the Quran which starts with an order of Sabbih. Do a tasbih. Sabaha, I told you, Sibaha was to swim. The tasbih comes from that word. And when you say Subhanallah, you're actually saying, I am declaring the perfection of Allah. So there is no imperfection there. I don't know whether in madrasa you did Sifat al-Salbiya and Sifat al-Subutiya and all that sort of stuff. It's part of the same thing. Okay? So this is the only surah with that order. I mentioned yesterday that this was the favorite surah of the Prophet. I also mentioned to you that he recited this. If you find in Jumu'ah, he will recite it. He recited it in Eid as well. You know the two surahs that are recited in Eid? Oh, come on. Which is the second one? One is Allah. What's the next one? Really? Are you serious? Just because Eid is so long away? Okay, I'll let you suss that one out. Okay. So this one was his favorite surah. Okay. I also told you that Imam Ali says, if people knew the benefits of this surah, they would recite it 10 times every day. So those are the things you should keep in your mind. The next thing is to look at the building, which is possibly on page, I think it's the first page, straight after the contents page. The first thing you've got to look at the focus of the surah. So I'm hoping that with every surah you do, you know the focus of that surah. Yesterday I told you the focus of this surah was on the mission of the Prophet, which is 2 words, Sabbih and Dhakkir. Sabbih is declare the perfection of the Rabb, and Dhakkir means continually remind the human being that there is one God. He or she will never get to any full potential without divine guidance, and we are accountable for our thoughts and deeds. Are you good with that? So if I said Surah Al-A'la, what comes in your mind? Sabbih and Dhakir. Are you good? Okay. We also did the first ayah, and I'm going to go over that in a little bit of detail more than I did yesterday. So the first thing we're going to do is look at that ayah. The ayah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You're supposed to memorize it, by the way. Sabbihisma Rabbikal A'la. Just forward. Sabbih, Ism, Rab, and A'la. Now you know what Sabbih means. You know what Sabaha means? Declaring His perfection. In many books you will say glorify Allah. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it's easier to know His perfection. Ism is a name. That's why you have a chart here which says Asma'ul Husna. And that's why we picked this surah to go with those Asma, right? Ism is one, Asma is a lot. Ism is quite important. A name is very, very important. Close your eyes for a minute. I know you've got kids, so it's a bit difficult to close your eyes. But imagine you're closing your eyes if you don't have any children with you. If I said mom, what comes into your mind? If I said ghost, what comes in your mind? If I said, I don't know, do you call them darling or honey or Janu or whatever you call your other halves, right? If you said Qurrata Ain, that's your children, by the way. I don't know what you call them, but whatever you call them, it's something that comes in your head. A picture comes through in your head. If I said a brand name, so if I said Prada or Burberry or Chanel or Louis, something comes into your head. Yet if I said Primark, I'm not quite sure what the other brands are, okay, Next or whatever, another sort of picture comes into your head. So a name is really, really important. It brings about in your head and my head a picture, a thought process. Something happens in our head when somebody says that. It's just the way we are tuned. In the same way, when you say ism, as far as Allah is concerned, it is perfection per se. Anything that is positive, He is perfection in all those attributes. That's why you have Asma'ul Husna. So Sabbihisma, declare the perfection of His name. Whose name? The name of your Rabb. Now on your sheets, these ones, there's no Rabb. Rabb does not feature here. In fact, we've left a corner here at the top which says Allah, and I'm hoping you will write Rabb near it because it's the most mentioned name of Allah in the Quran, Rabb. Every single prophet used Rabb. If you look at the du'as, Rabbi irhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar, and so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about Rabb today. So you'll put it in that corner, most mentioned name of Allah. Also, if you look at Rabb, there are two forms of calling Rabb. One is Rabbi, and one is just Rabb without the Ya. So if you're in a real hurry, you don't even time to say the Ya as well. You'll just say Rabb. Now, very often our children are taught when they, inverted brackets, swear, they will say, if it's a positive swear, they will say, Jesus Christ. And I've got nothing against Jesus. I love him to bits, okay, because he's a prophet. But it's good to teach your children, Ya Rabbi. There's nothing wrong. If you start saying it, they will say exactly what you say. Now, what is Rabb? Let me try and split it up into a few things. The translation literally is master. But the only problem is when you say master, in your head comes up the connotation of a human master. And a human master is not a positive thing at all. So you want to change it, have a paradigm shift. I'm going to explain what a paradigm shift is. Okay. There is a book called Emotional Intelligence. I can't remember the author right now. Anyway, so he writes, and he wrote this book because of this incident. And he says he was on this train, and whatever you want to call it. So he's on his train, on a tube, whatever you say. And he said he was so tired, he'd come back from work, and this father and the kids got onto the carriage, and the kids were making so much of a racket. They were just running around, and he just couldn't take it anymore. So he goes up to the father, and he says, you know what? Do you think you could control your kids a bit? I'm tired. I'm really tired. By the way, this happens a lot here, okay? Can you do that? And the father said, we've just come back from hospital. My wife's just died. I really don't know what to do. So the man has a paradigm shift. Because now suddenly, instead of feeling angry, he feels compassion. So he goes with the father, he goes to their home, helps to look after the kids, so on and so forth. That is called a paradigm shift. So we need to have a complete paradigm shift when we think of master or we think of Rabb. So I'd like to suggest to you what the ulama tell us. So Rabb has 5 meanings. Can you please write them down because you'll forget. Okay, so Rabb has 5 meanings. The first meaning of Rabb is Malik. He owns, and when I say he owns, he controls. You and I may say that I own my body, this is mine. But if my head hurts and I say get better, it doesn't get better. Yet a Rabb owns you and me. That's the Malik I'm talking about. So total ownership. The next one is Sayyid. So first was Malik or Malik. The second one is Sayyid. A Sayyid is one who has authority. So he has authority over me. He could say time up and I could fall flat on the ground dead without anything at all. That's Sayyid. He has authority over me. The third one is Murabbi. Murabbi is a parent or a teacher. That is why in your du'as you say Rabbi rahamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. A parent or a teacher gives you tarbiyah. They raise you in such a way that they want you to be the best. That's tarbiyah. That's what a murabbi is. That is why you say, Rabbi irhamhuma, have my Rabb, have rahmah on them. Be incredibly kind to them because that's what they were like to me when I was little. They convert this piece of flesh into a human being. That's what parents do. So our Rabb is a murabbi as well. He's also qayyim. Qayyim is the fourth one, which means he's a maintainer. The best thing I can talk about maintainer is that he's the one who keeps you and me alive. I would call him the life support system. You know, when you go to a farm or a garden and you see a plant that is sort of a bit of a weakling, what do you see the farmer do? He puts a stick and he holds the plant up. That's what qayyim is. When you stand up, you say, Bihawlillahi wa quwwatihi aqumu wa aq'ud. What is that standing position called? Qiyam. He keeps me standing. So that's a Rabb. And finally, the last one is Mun'im. He's one who gives you gifts. He's the giver of gifts. All these combined make a Rabb. But the most, if I can say the translation I like best, is he who takes you to your personal best step by step, providing you let him. You've got to let him. Okay, let me try and put it another way. I'll tell you a story like I do all the time. There was this little girl whose doll was broken. She comes to her mama and she says, my doll is broken. Mama says, I'll buy you a new one. She says, no, I just want the same one. So mom says, there's a doll hospital down the road. Why don't you just take it there? So the little one runs to the doll hospital, takes the doll, comes back with a broken doll. Mom is now seething. So she goes to the doll hospital and she says, but my daughter actually came to you and you did nothing. And the doctor said, we can't do anything because she won't let go. So a Rabb will only take you to your full potential if you try your best and then hand it over to him. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to put in a little bit more about a Rabb by telling you the story of Prophet Musa. Prophet Musa is the most mentioned prophet in the Quran. Now because you're all looking like you're going to sleep in a minute, why is he the most mentioned prophet in the Quran? He actually spoke a lot. He said a lot. Even in your houses, when you look at your children, I have 5, by the way, and sometimes they fight for airspace. You know that? It's quite difficult. But the one you will hear most is the one who will shout the most, or the one who will be the naughtiest, or the one who will take up much more time, and they will come into your head first. Same with Prophet Musa. He wasn't naughty, by the way. Okay? So let's talk about Prophet Musa. So he goes to Fir'aun. I'm not going to go to his birth, and we'll talk about that when we come to the other names of Allah. But he goes to Fir'aun, and Fir'aun says, Ana rabbukumul a'ala. Ana rabbukumul a'ala. What does this ayah say? Sabbihisma rabbikal a'ala. You see Fir'aun using it. He says, I am your greatest Rabb. And then he says to Musa, فَبَرْ رَبُّكُمَا يَا Musa. Who is your Rabb or Musa? Because Musa is not impressed by what he said. And this is Surah Taha, Surah number 20, ayah 49. It's one of the most awesome surahs of the Quran, Surah Taha. Qala, so he says, رَبُّنَا الَّذِي, look how he describes what her Rabb is. رَبُّنَا الَّذِي أَعْتَى كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلْقَهُ ثُمَّ هَدَى. My Rabb is he who created me and then showed me the way. 10 times in a day, you and I say something. What do we say? اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Maybe, I'm not suggesting you, I'm looking at me. When I recite my Surah Al-Fatiha, I go, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, and that sirat just goes away. And then somewhere in a translation I read, guide me on the straight path. What straight path? It literally means take me to my full potential. And when I read my salah, I need to know where I want to go. So I've told you a focus for the month of Ramadan, that by the end of the month of Ramadan, inshallah, you will all be able to come on the microphone and recite Surah Al-A'la and the 99 names in order. Don't look at me like that. It's not that difficult, okay? So in that way, you should have a life focus. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. So where do you want to go? What is your sirat? What is your full potential? So I'm going to give you mine. Please don't steal it. Do your own, okay? So I would probably say that whenever I read Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, I want to tell God that when the angel of death comes to me, I want to say, I did my best and thank you for life. And I also want to be in Jannah. I used to say at the door of Jannah before my smart children told me that it's no point being at the door, you got to go in. Okay. So now I've changed. I don't say at the door of Jannah, I say I want to be in. There's two things I have in my head. So whenever Malakul Maut comes, I want to be able to tell him again, thank you for life. I did my best. At that particular time, I did my best. Maybe looking back, I could have done better, but I did my best. And I want to go to Jannah. So you need to have in your head, when you say, Thumma hada, if you're saying, Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I know when you have young children, you think, I want them to walk, I want them to talk, I want them to be potty trained, I want them to go to school, I want them to grow up, I want them to get... That will happen. But it's you here in your salah that you need to talk about. Okay, let's fast forward. So Musa now has got to the people of Fir'aun, got to Egypt. He's told Fir'aun he wants to take the Bani Israel. He refuses. There's all these locusts and rivers turn red. You know the story, don't you? I'm not going to go there. But eventually he gets the Bani Israel out of Egypt. Now you imagine. Man, he's got them out. It's not easy. He's got them out. And they come towards the Red Sea. Just imagine. It's very difficult to get them out. It's very difficult to get somebody out of a situation they've been into years and years and years. And he's convinced them that they have to leave Fir'aun to be free. Anyway, so they've come out. And suddenly what's behind them? The army of Fir'aun. What's ahead of them? The Red Sea. Look at what they say. So this is Surah number 26, ayah 61. Qala ashabul Musa. So the people, the companions of Musa say, Inna lamudriqun. That's it, khalas. We're finished. Behind you've got Fir'aun. In front you've got the Red Sea. See what Musa says. It says ayah 26, flip it around, 62. You can't forget this, 26, 62. I'll share it on the WhatsApp group. He says, Qala kalla. No. Inna ma'aya rabbi sayahdin. I need you to memorize this ayah. Inna ma'aya rabbi sayahdin. My Rabb is with us, will show us a way. You've been saying Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim all this time. So Jibreel tells him, O Musa, say, Ya Allah, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. And those are the two we will look at tomorrow. Ya Allah, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. And take your staff and hit the Red Sea. Guess what happens? 12 roads. Not even one. 12. Because there are 12 tribes of Bani Israel. And I'm saying, but one would have been enough. No. They'd fight because Khojas and Pakistanis and Iraqis and Iranis and are not going to get on well. They need their own roads, right? Okay, you're smiling. All right. So, 12 roads appear. I start again. 26:62. What was the ayah? Inna ma'ya rabbi sayahdin. My Rabb is with me. He will guide me. What did he have to say? Ya Allah, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. What are you going to say when you're stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea? Ya Allah, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. It would be nice if you added Ya Rabbi. So Ya Allah, Ya Rabbi, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. When you can't see a way out of anything, Ya Allah, Ya Rabbi, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. If you look at your poster, right at the top, it has Surah number 7, Ayah 180. Right? Surah Al-A'raf. And if you look at that surah, can you see it? وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ biha. Again, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ biha. He says, and Allah has the most beautiful names. You want to dua? Do dua through them. That's how you do dua. You know, you and I might sit through this whole long du'as, Kumail, Iftitah, all of them. We sit through them. And I'm not going to talk about you, I'm talking about me. 90% of the time I don't understand half of it. Just don't understand the whole dua. Yet I will sit through it. Your children may not do that. They may want to have short and sharp. Forget about children. My mother used to be someone who fasted Rajab, Shaban and Ramadhan. My mother read all the nafilas. She read Salatul Tahajjud all the time. Every single dua, whether it was Tawassul on Tuesday, whether it was Kumail on Thursday, whether it was Nudba on Friday, she had a whole thing that she would do from Monday to Sunday. And then she got cancer. When she got cancer, she'd never been ill before. When she got cancer, for the 2 years of her life when she went through this illness, she would say, I find it so hard even to do the wajibat. So she would say, can you find me something I can recite that doesn't take me so long? And the only thing I could find was Asma'ul Husna. And if I told her, Mama, just read this one and read that one, in the end, Mama knew all 99. So it's really important that you learn them. I'm not just telling you just like that. There will be days in your life when the children will be difficult to look after. They won't let you rest. I've had 5, I know. And I have 9 grandchildren, okay? So I'm not saying it's easy. And there will be times when you think, where am I going to read all these du'as? Laylatul Qadr, tell me in truth, are you going to read all the surahs and Makarimul Akhlaq and Tawbah and expect your children to be sitting down unless you put them to sleep? And if they got up, you'll have to run to them. So the idea is to be able to learn these so you're able to pick them up. Are you good with that? I'm not saying don't read the long du'as. Please, please, please read them. However, this is one methodology, okay? So here we go, back to Musa. Inna ma'ya rabbi sayahdin. He hits this sea and it becomes 12 roads. What did he say? Ya Allah, Ya Rabbi, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. Can you look at your charts and tell me what numbers Hayyu and Qayyum are? Have a look. You can't miss them because we've highlighted them and we put eternity on them. You just can't miss them. 62 and 63. We'll talk about them tomorrow. But I need you to know, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. All the Asma'ul Husna come out of Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. So if you were to look at Asma'ul Husna as, I don't know, as flowers in a vase, then there'd be 2 stems. Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. I'll go into again. Let me look at another dua of Musa. And it's a dua of desperation. So there's Musa. This is before he goes to Fir'aun. He has accidentally killed someone. He didn't realize how strong he was. So he hits this person because that person is bullying a member of the Bani Israel, and he pushes him away. The person falls, hits his head against a rock, and he dies. Somebody from Pharaoh's household sees him and goes to report, as people do, and he's scared. So he runs away. He finds himself in a place called Madain. He's lonely, he's walking, he doesn't know where to go, but he's just going one direction, and he finds himself in Madain. When he gets to Madain, he is exhausted. No food, no place, no home. He doesn't know where he's going to go, and he sits under that tree. And under that tree, he does a dua. It's known as the dua of desperation. Surah number 28, ayah 24. Please write it down. If you don't want to write it down, go to a search engine. Put dua for desperation. And this is a dua that will come in. Rabbi inni lima anzaltu ilayya min khairin faqir. So he's sitting down here and he's saying, Ya Rab, I don't mind anything. Just give me a little bit of good. I can't see any good in my life. I've got nothing. I've hurt someone. I have no home. I don't know where to go to. I'm sitting under a tree. Please help me. I go again. Rabbi inni lima anzaltu ilayya min khairin faqir. Please learn this dua when you are desperate. When you really don't know where to turn. Rabbi inni lima anzaltu ilayya min khairin faqir. So what happens? He's sitting there and he sees these two women. And they're waiting their turn to get some water from the well for their animals. There's so many men then, so they're not going. So he thinks, this doesn't look right to me. They can't even queue up because the men are just pushing them out. As men do. Sorry, didn't mean that. Okay. So he goes up to these two women and he says, well, what's wrong with you? And they said, we can't. We just can't go. So he takes their animals, he gets some water, gives them back to those women, and he sits down. He thinks, thank God, I've done a good deed. Allah accepts that good deed. Because when they go back to their father, and their father says, you're home early today? And they say, well, it's because this particular man helped us. And he said, go bring him back. And then, the rest is history. He goes there, he gets a job, he gets to marry one of them as well. You know that? Okay, that's Musa. But it is because of this dua. I'll go back to it again. Rabbi inni lima anzaltu ilayya min khairin faqir. When you are desperate, you say whatever good in moments of desperation. And the word is Rab. Okay. So are you good with sabbih? You're good with ism. You're good with Rab. Like I've ingrained it into you. Rab. Yes? When you're going to get really fed up, you're going to say Ya Rabbi. If you, inverted brackets, swear positively as Ya Rabbi, your children will do exactly the same. My grandmother, her knees used to hurt a lot. And every time she stood up, she would say, Malik tojo lak shukar. That's Kachi. To say, oh, my owner, thanks to you. I didn't know that. I learned. I used to think that's what you say when you're tired. And my children didn't know Kachi. Yet when they were tired, they would say, and in the English accent, Malik taja lak shukar. Okay? And you ask them, why are you saying that? They say, Mama, you're saying it. But you don't even know what it means. So it's basically what you do, they will copy. So I repeat again, Ya Rabbi. Okay. Sabbih ism Rabbikal A'ala. So now if you turn your page in your book after the map, which is page 18, you will find Al-Ali. I hope you will mark 62 and 63 on your sheets, but I'd like you to mark 36. Now I mark 36 with a heart. Because surah number 36 in the Quran is what surah? Surah Yasin. And Yasin is known as Qalbul Quran. And Imam Ali, we are all Shias of Ali. So we have Ali in our hearts. So are you good? 36, Ali, you'll remember 36 is Ali, right? So Allah's name is Al-Ali. Now if you look at your book, it says, Ali means the Most High. Anything attributed to divinity is high. So in essence, anything you can imagine, he is higher than that. You good with the name Ali, right? You'll find it in Surah number 22, Surah Al-Hajj. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْكَبِيرُ. He is above creation in every sense. When Sabbih Isma Rabbika La'ala was revealed, I told you, the Prophet said, Ij'al fi sujudikum. Put it in your sujud. At your lowest point, you are remembering the Most High. Therefore, at your lowest point, du'as are heard. Prolong your sajdas as much as you can. As much as you can, okay? So if you want success in everything, you will recite Ya Ali. And when you think of Ya Ali, you're thinking of Allah. When you're thinking of Imam Ali, you're using his wasila too. So to the Al-Ali, you are giving the wasila of Ali. Are you good? All right. So are you good with Sabbih Isma Rabbikal A'la? You know what Sabbih means. You know what Is means. You know what Rabb means now. And you know what A'la means. Or you know what Ali means. Are you comfortable with that? So tomorrow, I'm hoping you will be able to memorize. It's only 3 words. Alladhi khalaka fasawa. Alladhi khalaka fasawa. And tomorrow we will look at Hayyul Qayyum. We have a book on the desk there. Like this. Sorry. It has all the Asma'ul Husna in it. Okay? So either you can download it. The problem is it's really quite big. We've not been managed to reduce the size to put it on the WhatsApp group. But you can find it on the website. You can download it. Or you can buy a physical copy. Oh, I've been told up there to tell you that it's £10. Okay? So that's the book, and it's available. It's over there. I've got some announcements before we end because we're nearing the end of our time. Let me see. I was told to look at this. 4 to 5-year-olds are now in the Rahma room. Do you know where the Rahma room is? Oh, thank God for that. So they're over there. Mums should collect them from there. 4 to 5-year-old. Again, you need to drop and pick them. Please don't leave them downstairs to come up by themselves. Okay, can we end with the Surah Al-Fatiha? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Ask Allah to give the thawab to the marhumin, especially those of your family. Pray for those who are ill and those who are in trouble. We normally end assemblies at workshop with this sentence, which is really good for protection, and maybe you can teach it to your children. لي خمسة أطفي بها حر الوباء الحاتمة المصطفى والمرتضى وأبناهما والفاطمة. Recite it with me. لي خمسة أطفي بها حر الوباء الحاتمة المصطفى والمرتضى وابناهما والفاطمة. جزاكم الله خير. See you tomorrow, inshallah.